to a new method based on causal AI and neuroscience, the so-called implicit intelligence. Be surprised by the results Frank will present to you. Frank, it's your turn.
Yeah, wonderful. Hello, everybody. So I hope you hear me now. Sorry for that, but we jump right into the topic. So let me introduce the study uh, results. And here, this is Professor Lippold, and the objective of the study was basically to get some more evidence on comparing the different methods with a single focus, the focus on can we find how well are they designed to find the best, most profitable price for simple consumer products. So Professor Lipper partnered with different brands, yeah, pet food brands, device brands, snack brands, because it needed also their cost data, because you cannot only find or judge about profitability, right? Whether or not the price is most profitable if you know the costs, right? So that's why it needed this collaboration. And let me very quickly describe for those who are not familiar with those methods what they are. So Gabor Granger is what you see here. Um, it's basically you go from up to the lower price points and ask, would you purchase the product described for this? And uh, certain methods are using eventually a rating scale. Yeah. So there are of course variations on that. And what you get is a price demand elasticity. The other method tested here is price sensitivity meter from Van Westendorp, and basically this method asks for what is and too expensive and expensive and what's too cheap. So it does not give you the price points. It really is free in exploring any kind of price points. So, and what you get are these kinds of graphs, basically where there's a certain logic recommended by Van Westendorp, where basically, for instance, the lower part is where the number of who say it's expensive are the same as the number that are say too cheap. This is a lower price point and so forth. There are some rules. You can also derive basically the number of definite buyers from that, and this is what the study uses to build a price demand function out of this method. Then there's conjoint. There are different conjoints, and here the study used a choice point conjoint, where basically there are several choice tasks to the customers presented, and basically the customer or the respondent need to choose one, and then basically the brand and the price and eventually the features are altered. In this study, the study uses a very simple way of setting it up. It uses the brand and the price and no other features. It does that because, first of all, it's something which is probably what a brand would do if it's very simple and already on the market. And on the other hand, it's also what there are some points in literature where you see that people say, like Byron Orman said, it's probably something you could do. So that's why the study does it. And lastly, so basically Conjoint delivers you utility values for every level for each feature. It gives a utility level value, and every price point gets a utility value. And with this, you can do calculations, simulations, and derive price demand elasticity. Lastly, implicit pricing intelligence is based on implicit association test. Yeah, it shows the product. There's a description of the product beforehand. It shows a price which alters and an adjective, and it lets the consumer or the respondents basically choose does this fit or not. And the interesting point is basically it measures the reaction time, and based on that, there are some rules based from neuroscience research how to interpret those reaction times. And at the end of the day, it comes up with a price demand elasticity. So let's look into the results. First off, the results needs to be validated. Yeah, how do you validate whether or not a price demand curve is better than the other? So first off, the study correlates the market share prediction with real market share. Second, it looks at plausibility, face validity test. And third, it looks for certain product, we got the information from the brand, how much the sales lifted up when lowering the price. And this is compared with the predictions of the methods. So, and here are the findings. First off, the correlation of the market share prediction with real market share. So implicit intelligence wins Gabor and Granger second, price sensitivity meter third, and interestingly enough, Conjoint did not produce in this case. Could have many reasons, but we have we think we have some hypothesis. It does not deliver here reasonable results. Here you see it a bit. You see price demand curve for one certain product, right? You see, yeah.
Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Because Brian, he has a question to your last slide, and he was asking, our sales changes factored by many different things. Hard to find causality, he asks.
Yeah. So the sales changes, I think this concerns after price promotion, right? I think that's the question. And actually, when you do price promotion, there are of course many factors, but the two main factors are first price, and second advertising that comes with the promotion. Yeah. So we looked at price promotions that are not supported with extra advertising. So, but basically, you can of course argue with anything we did here, but basically it is, I think, the best it could be done, and also that's why it does three different things, right? Correlate with real market share, look at real data from promotions, and third, face validity test. So here you see, for instance, this product was the price was lowered from 249 to 179, and the demand increased by 40%. And we see that the implicit price intelligence pretty well predict that. Gabor Granger overrates it, and the other two basically didn't catch at all that it will be an improvement. Second, so next, let's look at three core findings when looking at the face validity check. The first interesting thing was regarding Van Westendorp. Van Westendorp has a rule where it basically says here's the optimal price. It's, I think, where the people of too expensive meet too cheap. Yeah. which is in this case here €1.10. But if you take the price demand elasticity, which you see on the left, and then subtract the costs, so you arrive at the profit curve on the right side, you would arrive in a totally different price price recommendation. So in short, this optimal price, actually it cannot have any value or validation, because you can only optimize a price if you consider the costs, right? So any kind of price recommendation which does not look at costs cannot be serious, right? So this doesn't say that this method can't be used. Yeah, it has great value because it can find a kind of a range. Yeah, if you are totally lost whether or not the product should cost 2 or 20 euro, this method is great for finding the range, right? But it's probably, what the study shows, probably not the right method to find the exact right price. Second learning here was regarding conjoint. So as you see, typically what we saw here is that the price demand curve does zigzagging, and which is not reasonable. So the simple setting which was used seems to be not appropriate for this product. So maybe the result would be better if it would be a standard setting with features and so forth. But in this setting, it didn't work. So this doesn't, again, say conjoint can't be used. Conjoint is great for product optimization. That's the main focus, right? That's why you have those features, and you can learn which features drive willingness to pay. But for this, for this question to find the optimal price for this simple product, it turned out to be not the best method. Learning 3 regarding Gabor Granger, this is a typical pattern that it underestimates the willingness to pay, which was expected, yeah, because it's an explicit question regarding willingness to pay, and we expect that respondents are not fully exposing their full willingness to buy it. And this, yeah, you see basically that the gray curve is below the blue one, and this leads to different pricing. Yeah, so the implicit price intelligence would here recommend as a maximum price here 269, but Gabor Granger would end up with 189, which is quite different.
Frank?
Yep.
Martin here's another question from the audience. Martin is asking, you are judging a whole method based on one single inconsistent example. Is that really reasonable?
Yeah, I don't think that the study judges this method on yeah, it's basically has a range of products, yeah, which it's tested in a certain setting. Yeah, it uses a certain way of using this method, and this didn't work. So I would never draw final conclusion just from one study, right? But that's so basically the study explains all the context it uses, and you can basically take your own judgment. So next learning, and last learning here, is the interesting observation that the optimal price per method is pretty different. So, you know, if you look at price of the price demand curves, oftentimes, especially when you look at Gabor Granger and implicit price intelligence, at the first glance you would say, oh, it's quite similar, so let's do Gabor Granger. but actually, if you look at the optimal price, it's oftentimes quite different. So, and the learning, at least to me, was each method has its pros and cons, right? And we should use those methods for where they're good at. That's basically also what the conclusion is of the study, that Conjoint has proven to be a great method, particularly for product optimization, and that's certainly the field where it should be used. Van Westendorp is great to find the price range if you are not sure where the prices should lie. Gabor Granger is a great method for a quick assessment, and implicit price intelligence is a new method which seems to improve Gabor Granger a lot and gives more reliable in-market predictions and price optimizations. So I would basically close my presentation when we can go in more depth by maybe give you a little dry run how this implicit pricing intelligence would work. So first of all, again, it is a combination of using implicit association test as shown, and it uses causal machine learning to calibrate those results. So there are, on our website, there is an article which goes in deep length on how it works. So I don't want to bother you with mathematics here, but basically it's this combination of AI and neuroscience which arrives at pretty good results. So with that, I would share my screen and guide you through how to set up an implicit pricing study, and then we can go into more Q&A. Okay?
Okay.
So where's my tool app? Supra tools. So basically, you can create your account for free yourself at supra.tool, and basically it goes.
Kannst du den Bildschirm austauschen? Also man sieht jetzt noch die alte Folie. Du müsstest, glaube ich, dann deine Applikation ins Zentrum stellen.
Okay. So I try to share this one. So are you seeing the tool now?
No.
No. Not now? So let's try again. Do you see it now?
No. We see the last screen, implicit intelligence and IAT, and
I think the system tries to do something here. There's a waiting sign.
Perhaps you close the PowerPoint and
yeah, maybe.
Perhaps only one can be presented.
Yeah, maybe this.
Yeah, so now we see only your nice and beautiful face.
Wonderful. But it still doesn't work.
Yeah, for all the participants, we are testing this new tool.
It's a great tool, but with any great tools. So obviously the screen sharing doesn't work. I think I have a few slides which can give you a grasp on it.
And Bianca has a question. You carry out the tests and then follow the evolution of the product, demand, revenue, and profit. How did you test efficiency?
What do you mean with efficiency?
Bianca, can you write it in the chat? I repeat, accurate of the tests. So how can you ensure the accurate of the tests?
Did you carry out the test and then follow the evolution of the product demand curve, revenue profit? So the tests were done. That's a measurement, and this measurement gives a prediction of the expected market share. And across different products, we can correlate this prediction with in-market. So it's a correlation exercise, and yes, there is a statistical test, and it is significant by by the 10% interval. So p.1 because of the sample size.
And Amir is asking, why would we derive WTP based on price fairness perception?
Why would we derive? Oh, it's not. Yeah, that's interesting. So that's basically what we found. We found that there's not just fairness. There are 4 different standardized attributes, yeah, which are kind of fuzzy. Yeah, it's not only fairness; it's attractive. So certain words, and we found that using this is much better predictive if we basically use this to predict buying intent. So actually, we use buying intention, but indirectly derived, which is basically an implicit measure, and it has a lot of components. So the article goes into that. There are also causal implications on that. So it's not just price fairness. It's really an advanced implicit way of getting the true willingness to buy the product from the consumer. Yeah, because the fairness is just one indicator of 4 used for the willingness to pay. Right. So obviously, I cannot share the tool. Again, we do this next time. You can go on the supra.tools and basically build also basically without running the survey, the setup a test by yourself, play around with expert judgment, so you can see also do price optimization for free, and also, of course, you can book a one-on-one with Wolfgang, where we will use Zoom and show you the tool in detail.
So perhaps now perhaps try to share your screen again, Frank. I tried it and it worked for my computer. It worked, but also as a small screen. Perhaps when you stop sharing your presentation, it should now work that you share your second screen. If you have a second.
I don't have a second screen, so it doesn't work. Maybe you but no.
Yeah, let me try. Yeah, but it's only. Do you see something? Okay, Amir is asking to assess the fairness of a price. One would need some time to contemplate, if possible, any. How did you manage to measure it via implicit method?
So again, we don't want to measure price fairness. What we do is we measure existing associations of the product with the price and certain attributes which are predictive towards willingness to pay. Yeah, and we do that because we know with these 4 adjectives we can not only well predict, we can avoid that people have rationally guided answers, and also the judgment whether or not someone wants to buy it is not only a result of the product, it also, if a customer or person don't need it right now, yeah, it will not say I want to buy it, because it maybe just bought it, so it has enough in the fridge. But if you do that with other items, you much better arrive at a judgment whether or not he would in general buy it. So there are lots of components on it that's weaved into this method. So you can do the implicit association test in a simple way, and basically we do research on this method since 2016, and improving that since then. And that's basically some improvements we come across.
So perhaps does anybody have a question regarding the different industries the study was working in, or yeah, do you want to see some special graphs? Amir says thanks.
Wonderful.
So I'm waiting.
Can this be used with
Somebody,
complicated insurance pricing that involve actuary underwriting? So that's we don't know actually. Yeah, we didn't do it with insurance yet. It is I mean, if you just need to consider basically, is it a product? How is the buying situation? Yeah. So for insurance, I would think you see an insurance, you want insurance, you see a price, and then you have a willingness to pay. So yeah, why shouldn't it be appropriate to use that? The cost side is a different thing, but which is not a matter of the method. Yeah, it's your turn to find a cost point. Yeah, basically the expected average costs for a contract, which you need to put in there. So yeah, it's up to a discussion with domain experts. What my first intuition is, yes, it can be used for insurance as well.
and Brian is commenting that it's B2B employee, yeah, that this issue has to do with B2B employee based plans. Then I got an email here via the message via LinkedIn from someone who asks, what about B2B?
Yeah.
How is, because your study is on B2C, how do you handle the whole B2B industry?
Yeah, we already did a lot of B2B studies. It's basically the difference is that we don't tap on panels, because for most B2B types, there are no panels or no reasonable panels. So typically companies have a prospect or a customer list, which you upload, and basically we send them emails, right? Inviting to a survey. It's perfectly actually for B2B, because it depends. It must be a standardized product, yeah, not a product which gets customized everything. But there are lots of B2B standardized B2B products, and with this method, you need, yeah, we typically do that with 100 judgments per product, but actually it's even stable enough with 50. Yeah, and that's very interesting for B2B, where you often have not so many respondents. So it's quite interesting for B2B as well.
And how automatically, what are you doing exactly, or what, when you said that you are working on this issue for since 2016, did you see some things changing also regarding yeah, which method is the most popular, or is there a yeah, is es verschiebt sich das?
I don't know. So there are. Didn't see big changes in the pricing method field. There are pricing software, which is the latest trend, which is great for certain applications where you have a lot of transactional data and you have prices that change, so you can analyze it. But this kind of method is still needed anyways for new products, for price changes in regions which you haven't seen before, and so forth. So there are, again, each method has its place, and yeah, I think there's a huge place for implicit intelligence because it's quite simple and therefore inexpensive, and it's easy to set up. There's a huge range of people who can set it up now, which maybe were shying away from that because they were Conjoint was too complicated to set up, right? So any brand manager can set this up. It's super simple.
And Bianca asked, what minimum sample size do you recommend from this type of analysis?
So again, the standard is 100 per test, yeah, per product and test. But for B2B, we did it several times with 50 already, which gave a stable enough result.
Patrick is commenting, the main advantage of CBC is that the competitive environment can be included to a certain degree, so that you can make a choice similar to a real situation. How is this covered by the implicit method?
Yeah. So actually, what you are talking about is a market simulation, which is another analysis which typically you do when you do conjoint, right? So we don't have a market simulator yet, but actually this is on our roadmap that actually you can test with implicit intelligence the competitive landscape and then build a simulator as well, and also include kind of wargaming in there. That's our plan. That basically, yeah, if you lower the price, eventually the competitor will lower too. So there are some simulations you are interested in doing, which is also not always done by a conjoint market simulator.
Bertram is asking, how do you analysis of price architecture of competing retailers as assortments? For example, beer at Edeka versus Rewe or skincare at Rossmann versus DM.
I'm not sure if I get the question fully right. So
how do you analyze of
I mean, the product is typically designed for brands, right? So brands who want to know what's the price I want the retailer to have. And of course, the retailer is free to choose any price he wants. So the tool at first glance, it doesn't look at the architecture, right? And it's a fair point that there are those topics and many more can be basically influencing the final pricing decision, right? But any kind of pricing decision and any kind of pricing strategy you come up relies on evidence how customers react on price. And as a study shows that the method is a pretty good method to find this evidence.
Bianca is also asking, can we assess the trade-off between the players, cannibalization, as we do in CBC?
Yes, that's again a market simulation exercise, yeah, which you do need to do afterwards. So the Supra tool does not have this simulation. We can set it up in an Excel and it will be part of the tool next year.
How sure are you that you meet the target group in the survey?
So that's defined by the screener question. Yeah. So what we do is actually you define what's a category, and we screen for people who are category buyer, or frequent category buyer.
Okay. So I look at any more questions here in the chat. No, I look at LinkedIn. Also nothing. Check. Yeah, what about the prices? Walter asks.
Yeah, I mean the Supra tool, you can see the price list on supra.tools. If you choose as a small package, it costs 600 euro per test, which is just a fraction of doing, for instance, a conjoint study. And it's super easy to set up and very fast.
And how much is in comparison a conjoint study?
I mean, this depends. If you go to a agency, it will cost, I don't know, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. It very much depends, right? If you buy a conjoint software, it can be, I don't know, if it's conjointly cost, I don't know, there's a monthly fee of, I don't know, 2,000 or so. So there are very different ways of getting a conjoint. But what I think for conjoint, you need some expertise to set it up, right, and to interpret results, and that's much easier with the new method.
Bianca asks, the exercise itself, it is more like a Westendorp, or does it simulate scenarios like CBC?
So now it doesn't simulate scenarios, and it's also not like Westendorp. It's more close to Gabor Granger, but implicit. It really doesn't look at what people say, but what they already think about the product without saying it. So it untaps the emotional side of people, the want, which is the core of the willingness to pay. It's not a result of a rational thinking process.
Okay.
Yeah, which is quite a different approach, because with CBC, with conjoint, it's more like, yeah, rational. Yeah, you compare rationally the features, actually get still good results, because people are absolutely overwhelmed with comparing those features, and this is where then their gut instinct jumps in and just does a decision, right? So but I can talk hours for that, and we can do that in one-on-ones if you're more interested in that.
Yeah, so at this moment I see no more questions.
Wonderful. So again, sorry for the problems we got today. I would have loved to show the tool, how it works. And again, we do it one-on-one if you're interested. And yeah, eventually join in our next webinar next month.
Bianca is asking a question. She says, okay, as we did it in BPTO.
I don't know what this means.
Dear Bianca, what is
Brand price trade-off?
Of
Yeah. Right.
She asked, or is it a comment? I don't know. This is the question mark. Okay. So she asked if this is a brand price, as this is this comparable or something like this? It follows the idea of Gabor but presents options, Bianca comments.
Mhm. I'm not familiar with this method, and again, the main difference here is really implicit measurement, which is not comparable with conventional methods, which are explicit. They ask for opinions, and typically, yeah, it's a result of a thinking process which you don't want to know. You want to know what people will do. Their decisions are by 90% guided by their beliefs. They already have their gut instinct, and that's what we measure with implicit intelligence.
Bianca asks, can we simulate here how you do with the respondents?
So that we show you how it works. Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to show the tool, but can't share screen. So Bianca, let's hop on a call separately, and we show you. Okay.
So Bianca, okay, thanks. Yeah, she's there. Yeah, so if not more questions are, or perhaps somebody wants to tell us his experiences.
Yeah. We just planned for 30 minutes, but we take more time because it's a new topic, and feel free to use the time. Otherwise, again, let's talk later.
Patrick, very interesting approach, new and fresh. I'm curious to hear more about it. Great session. Thanks a lot for the invitation.
You're welcome, Patrick. You too,
Bianca
Henke.
also thank you. This we also need this motivation. Thank you. So yeah. So let us finish, Frank, right?
Yeah. Again, thank you very much. I close the broadcast, and again, promise next time it will be super smooth and wonderful. See you soon. Bye bye.
See you soon.